Welcome back to Time to Change. I'm Chasen Forehand.
And I'm Dr. Melissa.
And we are having conversations with people that are creating change.
And these are people that aren't just talking about making change. They are doing the change. They are the change.
And that's what makes it so unique.
Yeah. I mean, it's great to talk about it and it's awesome to be in theory, but it's even better when it's in practice. And those are the people that are here with us.
So join us for 20 plus episodes in season 7 of Time to Change.
Welcome back to Time to Change. I'm Chasen Forehand. And that way, Dr. Melissa back in the house. We're preparing for season 8, but we wanted to give you a special treat today. I have the Chief Catalyst Officer, Melissa Rider Carson. I'm the thinking partner for leaders navigating decisions they can't afford to get wrong. Restructures, leadership, transitions, stay or go moments, decisions where there's no playbook and the stakes are real. I love that. So welcome in the house, Melissa Carson. We appreciate you being here with us today. And I guess my first question to you is, why did you go out on your own and start doing this work?
Interesting. And thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this. I mean, it's a little bit of a long story, but the short version of it is I didn't want to have regrets. So in 2016, I decided to leave a job and figure out what was next. And at the time, I debated starting my own business or going back to work into another organization. And I decided at the time, two things. I didn't think I could build a business. I didn't think that was me. And I still wanted to be part of something. So took another role, fast forward a couple of years. And then for a variety of reasons, I decided to get certified as an executive coach, as a professional development, and then decided I wanted to do the parts of the job that I found fun. And for anybody who read my content from the past week, I had this moment earlier that year when I was sitting in a conference room in Belarus that I'm like, I love my job when I travel. And not because I get to see great things, which was great, but because I got to do not the day job, but all the fun coaching and strategy work all the time. And so that was sort of the beginning of deciding I'm going to go start my own business, because how hard could it be?
I love that. I love your moxie. And speaking of moxie, Nick and Jai Galindo, guiding brilliant writers. Not only is she my buddy, my friend, but she is one of our sponsors for the podcast. She has been a huge advocate, sits on the advisory board for HR for You. We would not be able to do the work that we do without people like her and without our partners like Maono. I'm trying to get to their little logo right here. Maono is vision in Swahili, and they provide all of our gear, including this wonderful piece I'm going to be taking on the road in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
It is it's wireless lavalier microphones, and then you connect the pieces into like a phone or a camera, and you are out doing all your recording, and it's so much higher tech. So thank you, Maono, for being our sponsor. We love you guys. We love Guiding Brilliant Writers Publishing. HR consultations, those are my fractional dudes that help with nonprofits, foundations, and B Corps. They only work with social good entities. And our merch page, those ladies, Tisha and Ginger, they do all the great merch for Nick, for myself, and others. They're just fun. So, oh my goodness, I want to dive back in because I love what you said. And I was following those posts and I was thinking, man, I want to get TKs in places like this. We're in Nicaragua. We opened up in Nicaragua last year, but now we're looking at Costa Rica. We're looking at Australia. We're looking at a couple places in Canada. We're also looking in the United States. But what's that? I felt the joy from you reading the post. Like I I don't think that we have actually really met. I think this is the first
Yeah.
time that we've met each other in this way. And I felt the joy coming from the pen and paper. And I can remember those moments. I remember the first year that I was not doing any corporate work, that I was out on my own. I had been building the company for years, and I finally was just out on my own. I left a really toxic place, and I'm sitting in Bryant Park, which is my favorite little park in New York City. And it's right next, part of why I like it is it's right next to the library. And I'm a geek. I love the library. And I'm sitting here going, man, it's a full moon. I'm out there at the park. I had just finished with one of my biggest clients I had at the time. And I'm thinking, this is awesome. And so when I'm reading that post from you, I had flashbacks of being in that park, seeing that moon and being like, yeah, this is it. This is it. So I just wanted to share that with you, that I really felt that through the post and it brought me back. So I appreciate that so much. Let's talk a little bit about what you do specifically so people know how to connect with you. We'll put all your links and everything in, but what you do specifically, how you help so that people know, to get in touch with you.
Perfect. No, and I'm glad to hear that that post resonated. I work with leaders who generally are part of a smaller organization, and are really making high stakes decisions, whether it's about themselves and their own career or around their organization. What do I need to do for my board, or how do we survive this downturn? How do we think about AI? Like, I'm not a specialist in any of those areas, but what I am really good at is listening, asking the questions, bringing together all of my experience around organizational strategy and HR organizations and performance management, all that stuff, but really around giving leaders space to actually think and process, and then ask the questions like, well, what about this? And bringing all the different expertise I've had from being in a corporate environments for 30 years or so, or almost 30 years in that environment. So I would call it a mix of executive coach meets organizational strategist meets HR consultant.
Well, they were having such an amazing conversation before we hit record. I would love to jump back into some of that.
Right.
Because, we were globetrotting, and that was fantastic.
I know. I should have just started recording from the moment Nick jumped
Nobody
on.
would have noticed. You would have just been like sneaky and put it in there.
Uh-huh.
It's really a good combo that Melissa has there, because people do offer those different type of skill sets, but individually. And so they're getting the full package with her, right? Not just her 30 years of corporate experience, but I think a lot of leaders today don't feel that they have that space to really be heard. They feel that they have to make a decision on the fly. Everything's burning. There's so many moving parts. But then when you get to sit with someone now that just says, listen, I'm not here to dig, uncover, any of those things. I just need you to talk. Just talk. And that's when everything starts falling out. But that's when you really need somebody who could pick up the different pieces and put them in the different boxes and say, okay, this is what's going on. Because right now you feel like everything's just all over the floor. Well, no, we're going to put them in order. So anyway, that's just what I take away from Melissa's content. And we were talking about how much I would love, because I'm on Long Island, and I would love to go to her event on the 29th. And I posted that I need a travel buddy, because New York City is about an hour and a half from me, I would say. But once I get to Penn Station, I have no idea where I'm going. I mean, I'm in the city looking like this, like a tourist, trust me. So
you cracked me up. I told her this, Melissa Carson. I said, you know what? You're going to be fine, because the way it works with the numbers and the letters and it's like so easy to navigate versus a lot of cities where it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. However, I would have been her partner. But I'm going to be in Atlanta. So I'm
not going to really work.
Literally going to be at the Evolve event for Anna Morgan. Otherwise, I would have absolutely been there, and I would have been your buddy.
Oh,
Nice.
well, there will be a next time, and perhaps Melissa will be in New York soon enough.
Yeah.
That's why we're here today, and we're talking about what this woman has really stepped up and done for HR4U, for Transformation Kitchen, and what Transformation Kitchen is doing for everyone out there. I mean, I've had the opportunity, Jason, now to know you for a few years, to meet you in person a couple of times, and to really see the work that your company is doing. So, when the whole discussion came up about possibly doing a charitable annual Transformation Kitchen cookbook, I jumped all over it. I'm like, really? Me? You want to think about me? Okay, yes, I'll do it. And then, we talk about what we need to do next. And, part of that is sponsorship. More hands make the load lighter. And we moved in that direction. And Melissa was the first one to throw a hand in the air.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
She really, really was. So, Melissa, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad to be a part of it.
We're honored that you're a part of it, and I appreciate it very much. I want to talk about the event that you're going to. I'm not giving Dr. Melissa any time to ask questions, but she'll jump in. But let's talk about that event that you're going to be in New York City.
Yeah, so this is an event sponsored by Luminary, which is an amazing organization led by a wonderful leader, Kate Luzio. But I have the opportunity to have two roles in it. So I get to facilitate a great panel in the afternoon with three amazing women on navigating change, which there's no change going on these days. So that will
just a little bit, like on a daily basis. But it's all right. Yeah. And
then in the morning, get to lead three sessions related to leadership as an endurance sport.
Oh, wow.
And, which is my sort of anchor topic. And so really excited to run through 3 sessions of that.
How cool is that?
Because you're an endurance runner, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny. I laugh when I say that, because I'm not the typical runner, and that I didn't start until my 40s. I don't think about myself because I'm not like an elite fast runner. I'm an average runner, but I have run, over 25 half marathons and 3 marathons, and some of the, so I'm like, I have to sort of associate as a runner, but wow. I'm not the person who goes out every day. I'm like, oh, I have got to get, I'm not Scott getting my 5 miles in every day. Like, it's not who I am, but it taught me a ton of lessons around that I can bring into leadership.
Well, heck yes, that's like a lived analogy right there, because you have feet on the ground doing this. And when I think about endurance, I look at you guys, all veterans up here as entrepreneurs, and I literally started my LLC last year, even though I had been working it before. So, there's so much for me to learn from all of you, and just, observing what Melissa's doing out there is very inspirational to me. I'm still living within my 4 walls. Right? This woman's international. When I reached out to her to say, can we do this? She's like, sure, I'm in Poland right now. I'm like, wait, what? So, it's just so many beautiful things come out of an idea being sprung to do something for good, and everybody wants to put their hand in it. And now look at what has happened. So I will no doubt find myself at one of Melissa's events, and Melissa is going to shake me up and say, come on, we got to get it from behind those 4 walls. We got to do this. We got to kick off this entrepreneurship journey. This is Endurance 101. And so I'm just really grateful to have met you.
It's wonderful. But I think a key part of that endurance messaging is around, if you think about, hey, I'm going to go train for a marathon. You don't necessarily go out there the first day and run 26 miles. You probably need a training plan. And ideally, you might want a coach or some support network. Like, how am I going to get this done? Or who's going to talk to me about fueling? So you need support. So back to, this entrepreneurship isn't about doing it alone. It's about getting the support that you need at each phase of the journey, and each area of specialty of just, hey, I need somebody who knows what the selling things, or I know how to use a CRM, or I know how to do different types of outreach or social media. It's like finding that support structure, just like you would if you were training for a marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and speaking of getting that right support, I mean, while I was looking at your website and stuff, I was looking at a couple of your referrals, and there was one that talked about how supportive you had been, especially as a woman in the field. And my understanding is you don't necessarily specialize in women, but I mean, having been one for a
I
while.
still am. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you come to it with that focus and through that lens. Have you felt that this is something that you've been able to bring in particular, or is it just kind of part of the bigger package?
It's one of those things that I feel this passion towards helping women leaders be successful, because being a leader in general is hard. It's messy. It's one of the most challenging jobs, and I think it's gotten harder over the past several years based on the level of uncertainty and complexity. So I want to help leaders in general, because I also believe that work shouldn't suck. And the biggest contributor to it not sucking is the leader.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the leader doesn't mean to be bad at being a leader. It's just they're stressed, they're overwhelmed, they don't know what they're doing, they never got any coaching or guidance, whatever. They're thrown in and figure it out.
Yeah.
But I do have this passion around women leaders. And so sometimes I am able to very focused support them, but my work tends to work across all genders at this point, particularly in I have a fractional head of people role. And so that's obviously a mix of population in that organization. But I do get to work with a lot of women leaders, which I love.
See, I think that's so cool, and it's so necessary. I think that's my opinion, but it's kind of like leadership and being a female leader. You're taking on more. So
because I think that part of it, if I am successful, in doing this, it's breaking the female mindset around it's not okay to ask for help. Like I should be able to, I mean, I lived it. I still live it to some extent. Like I should be able to figure this out. I should be able to do it all. Look at Dr. Melissa, she's doing it all. Look at Nick, she's doing it all, and what we watch. And I think that we are okay hiring a personal trainer or a golf coach or those types of things, but we haven't yet made it okay to say, I'm going to go hire an executive coach or this partner, like, as I call myself a leadership endurance partner, like to walk alongside. Like we haven't normalized that that's okay, because we think we should be able to do it. And I want to change that. Like we don't have to, like we're missing out because we are forcing ourselves to try and do it on our own, instead of saying, hey, I'll take whatever help is available.
That would completely change the leadership paradigm. Right? Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is asking for help.
Yeah.
Not being afraid to do that. And I think that the society puts it on ladies in particular to be like, you've got to be all these things, and you got to juggle all this, even more so than men. And we try to make it that you fit into this same type of box, but you are so much more. Women traditionally have so much more empathy and EQ and are so much better at multitasking and doing all the things, and as well taking the time to pause and say, I need. So I think there's so many lessons that we can learn, and I appreciate the fact that you're actually not just teaching, but then learning yourself and sharing your knowledge as you learn. I think that's is impactful as anything else, that we share what we learn along the way.
Well, and I think the other piece that, you think you learned a lesson, you're like, I fixed this. But we're a human. Like it's very rare that we learn that lesson for our whole life. So then you come back into situations, you're like, wait a second, I still have that stress behavior. I still have that. Like you catch it faster, you recognize it, but you're like, yeah, I'm not perfect. I'm a very imperfect leader. I'm just more intentional.
I think it's that ongoing work that we all do, personally and professionally, that we have to identify our strengths and weaknesses and see them. Like you said, I'm always doing the work, but I have to identify when those things are happening so that I can react differently, or sometimes sit and really take a pause and learn from our past mistakes to forge a path forward. That's really astutely said, because man, the worst thing is you just keep doing the same thing over and over and keep that wheel going where you're making the same mistakes and not learning and not growing and not developing. I think that is one of the most horrible things you could do to yourself. This is that time period in the world where AI is a big thing in all industries and is out there, and people are like watching it, and every day that changes, and this company gobbles up that company, and what's happening, and then our political scene changes on a daily basis, and then people coming and going, and all of the things that we see in our lives, and there's so much noise that if we can take it down and have a partner like you that can help us filter that so that we can talk about what we need to focus in on a daily basis so that we can actually grow and make the business profitable and do the things that we need, then that is a powerful, powerful ally that anybody can use. But I think it's really great that you do have a focus to help as many women as possible, because we had our season finale. We had Veronica McGibney, who just launched Lead Her magazine.
Oh, I saw that.
And I'm telling you how powerful that is. Like, if you haven't connected, I'm going to connect you to her, because you two should have a conversation. And one of the things that she talks about is how female founders, when they're even looking for funding, they get 2% of the funding that's available. 2%. And I, as a male, I sit here and I go, wow, I feel really bad to be a dude having this conversation with you right now. Like, I feel embarrassed. But it's true. The things that we put, especially on women right now. And so any chance we can get to elevate women leaders, do the work, and then shout out to people like yourself that are helping others, especially women leaders, but helping everybody, we need to do it. So I'm down for that every day.
Great.
Tell me, I want to be conscious of time, and I appreciate everybody being here today for this impromptu, like, in between seasons. We're just gonna do our thing in between seasons, but and we'll have to look at having you back on in season 8. I'd love for you to come back on, and we'll talk about all the things that you've been doing. I'm curious what you have in store for this year. Like, what is your mission, vision, and purpose for this year that's really driving you? Because even your title is very different that you give for yourself. So what's the mission, vision, purpose that Melissa Carson gives to herself for 2026?
And it's funny that you talked about that title, because I've never liked the title of CEO. I'm like, that, I feel like I don't have a team. I don't have an organization. I'm like, I don't really love founder. I'm like, but it's interesting. One of my colleagues that I met on LinkedIn, David Marlowe, writes about your ikigai, and writing that statement, and came out with a wonderful book. Iki Quest, I think, is the name of the book. But in working through that book and thinking about it, like, one of the things that I realized my through line is being the catalyst for change, to understand, I'm here. What do I want to be? Where do I want to go throughout friends or family or work or things like that, or organizations? Like, how do I be that catalyst to become whatever? And so that's sort of what I'm trying to embody this year. And, my mission hasn't necessarily, like, I think this job of leadership is really hard, and it's so critical. And I want to help organizations grow and thrive. I mean, both from the, I wear an HR hat at times, and I'm like, okay, I want a business to be successful, and it is about protecting the business, et cetera. But I'm like, at the end of the day, it's the people that make any business successful. And if they don't have good leaders, it's not going to work. And so I'm all about trying to think about, how do you build new leaders, build culture, and this fractional role that I wrote a little bit about in last week's post. I'm like, I've loved watching it this year, because some newer leaders are starting to step up. The culture is starting to evolve. And like I think about myself as, hey, I'm the catalyst that started that. I'm not doing all the work. They're doing all the work, but I'm like, I was the catalyst for that change. And so I want to be a bigger catalyst.
I love that. Well, we're going to include all of your links when we launch this, which is going to be this coming Funky Friday. We are going to drop this like it's hot. And I cannot thank you enough for this impromptu meeting. Nick and Jai Galindo in the house, guiding brilliant writers publishing, and Dr. Melissa Robinson Weinmiller, TED Talk, Queen of Empathy, best-selling author. Holy cow. You have the book nearby? Do you have the book nearby?
I do.
I have my copy. There we go.
Yeah. And the TED Talk's at 88,000 views in 3 months. So
you go.
Keep those views coming.
So you have been with all of us and Melissa Carson and Time to Change. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for showing up. Give her some love, people. Go to her website. Spread the word. Tell everybody about what she's doing. We're going to catch you next time. Thanks for being with us. Take care.
Thank you.